So I guess I wouldn't make a distinction between public, private. The distinction I think I would see is between good guys and bad guys, and big organisations and little ones.
Okay.
So if you have the right motivation, then I think it doesn't matter if you're a charity that makes a surplus and you keep that, if you're a business that makes a profit and you reinvest that, if you're a public agency and you manage your finances carefully and you end up not running out, for me that's not really what it's about. It's about why are you doing this work? Because you really care about it or not? And that is dependent on the kind of system that you work in, the incentives of the system you work in, and if you incentivize it in the wrong way, you'll get the wrong kind of behavior. So that. And then I think there's also a distinction between big and small organizations. So sometimes when people are talking about private involvement in the public sector, what they mean is very big company involvement. And other times what people mean is charities, they're like very, very small organizations. And actually you can have massive charities and very small companies. There's definitely a relationship between big and small that needs to work, because big, they have economies of scale, they can often spread best practice much better. Small, they can be more innovative, they can change faster sometimes. So you need both, and you need to find a way of working together. As to what is the role for non-government to do government things, I guess, maybe really what you're asking. I think it's massive because, what is government really? Is it not basically a way of bringing in a whole lot of money and spending on things that we all agree with? It's that, but often in most countries it's also a whole lot of doing, and it's not always very good at the doing, or it may be good, but there may be other people who are also good and do it in a different way. So in my mind, the important thing is to find a way in which people who are excellent at solving a social problem get a chance to, and which sector they come from I don't think is so important, but I think it's really important that you give people that chance, because otherwise you get what you have in any market industry. If you have a monopoly, just one provider, it's often not as good as it could be sometimes, but not, often not, because there's not very many reasons why it would be. So I guess that's if you don't get innovation, not if you get competition, it's not like, it's more freedom is really what you offer people. So you can try it however you think is going to be effective, and that's when you get innovation. So that's what I would say. I definitely think so, because I think it's just so important, as I was saying in the talk, I think it's so important that people recognise the short-term, medium-term and the long-term context that governments all around the world are working in. And that context is that the 21st century will be really hard for governments in the West, because ageing is going to create this, it's not just one of many policy problems, it's a massive, massive issue. And the tax base that supports public services is just going to collapse. So you have to do something about that. And then climate change as well, it changes everything. So that's just two issues, and there are many other things that need working on too. So for me, the imperative to change, you're not going to get a different result by doing the same thing we've done before. So we have to find something different. The question is then, what is a good way forward? If you're going to make a change, what is a good way forward? And so I think the model of, if you design it properly, the model of allowing different people to come in and try something successfully or not is the right way to do it. But you've got to be careful, because you can mess that up. You can have big companies that come in, they're just after profit, government just pays them on lowering cost, so the quality is rubbish, and that's if you design a system like that, you'll get that kind of behaviour, so don't. But I think that Denmark can look around the world at where this has been tried in different places, and they'll be able to learn the lessons. We did some bits of it early in the UK, Australia has done some, New Zealand has done some have really worked, some have didn't work, but you can learn, well, why was it that didn't work? And so I think that when the next sort of set of countries are attempting it, they'll probably do it much better than we've done it. People sometimes call it glocal in the UK, global and local at the same time. So the kind of problems that we work on, I work on, they are different, not just in every principality, not just in every school or every hospital, not even in every classroom. They're different each day or each minute of the classroom or the doctor's clinic or whatever it is. They're human problems about behaviour, motivation, fear, psychology really, and emotion. And that you can't have like this is the answer to that. There's many answers, so and the answer will be different on different days for different people.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I kind of think it'd be in a way less collaboration because it becomes more and more micro. But at the same time, when you do that, then you want to try and spread those good ideas as quickly as you can. And so I'm sure there'll be a lot more learning from different countries, and there's definitely a role for trying to decipher what is it that is effective in big social problems, or what the kind of principles to try, the techniques to try. So I would say something like ethnography, which Robin Farrow was describing. Ethnography is a way of finding out the answer. It's not the answer. But you might learn, every time we try this technique of finding out the answer, we get good things. So I think people will start to learn that kind of best practice, not a best practice which is like, this is the actual one template for doing it. So.